Tell me about the evolution of this project. This is about delivering sort of human factors teaching with pilots.
The project was born when we were really knee-deep with COVID, and everyone was really uncertain at the time what was going to happen. So the emergency department channeled their energy and their uncertainties into simulation training. They meanwhile the pilots were furloughed. They set up a well-being lounge for us to look after our well-being, called Project Wingman. So the ED team and the pilots met a few times over coffee, and they thought, well, why don't we share our experience in simulation training, our human factors? And the airline industry got such world-class record in training, in simulation, and reducing errors. And they teamed up together, they came to observe initially, and they then developed a framework of how we can learn from more aviation-specific human factors. So it started with a handful of ad hoc emergency department simulations, and it grew so quickly to lots of specialties were involved: pediatrics, intensive care, neonatal, the obstetrics department, surgery, and psychiatry. I mean, they all got involved in this project. We delivered 100 simulations in less than a year. And this wasn't just medical, it wasn't just confined to medics. Multidisciplinary team joined us. We had physios helping with CPAP training, just testing protocols, delivering pathway, just working out where the system change needs to be. And this project really energized us, and during a time when it was difficult, and it brought so much camaraderie between teams. And I would say, we're really proud to be in this project, and we presented this project at multiple international and national conferences. And it came second in the HSJ Awards for Best Educational Program in the NHS. And awards aside, I think this project has left a legacy at Whittington about the collaborative work that we've done, and it's still very much palpable today, and even though the pilots have gone back to work.
Maybe you want to explain to people, because not everyone's medical here, what you mean by human factors, and then I might tell you a story of one of the simulations that I was involved in that has really struck a chord with me.
Yeah, I'm going to come to that in a moment. I'm going to explain what human factors are, but these are communication skills, team working. I'll come to that. I'll explain more.
Okay, so the simulation that I was involved in was we had our ward clerk, Antoinette, playing the mother of a child who was a plastic dummy, and it was and this child had a life-limiting condition and was brought in extremis, and the plan was to stop resuscitating her, and she would probably pass away. And we did this simulation, and somebody else was I can't remember who was the father. Anyway, and so it got more and more heated because this mother wanted to keep this child alive at all costs, and the medical team just sort of kept skirting around the issue and couldn't quite say, actually, it's time now. And we then interrupted it, and I remember Alex Jolly saying, he was one of the pilots, he said, quite often I will have to not take off, and I will meet a load of really disgruntled passengers, and I will explain to them that we are waiting, and there's a fault. It's not safe, and he just very clearly explained to us that the plane is not taking off. And we then explained to the mother that her child was going to die, and that what we wanted was for this child to have the most dignified and peaceful death that was possible. And it was fascinating watching Antoinette's face as she sort of relaxed and realised this was going to happen, and that it was fine and it was okay. And it was really interesting that we needed a pilot to be able to tell us what we had to say to this mother to be able to conclude the scenario. So that was my sort of personal experience of working in this way. But I'll hand back over to Dot.
Yeah. I think the trainees really loved the simulation. The feedback was so good. I think, imagine the education landscape there was nothing there. COVID, they were redeployed. There were cancelled sessions. All their courses were postponed. There was nothing happening for them. And they all they do is come into work, see COVID. We drain their batteries and they go home. So this is really like the simulation is it's just energizing. This happened, we call it in-situ simulation. So it happens in real clinical environment during the on-call, and they all, the actors are primed, and they know what they're doing, and they have hot debrief. So they have immediate feedback from the pilots and the experienced faculty. They, we talk about aviation human factors, which I'll come on to describe, to talk about a bit later, and it's really valuable to them. Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to tell us about, just because we're running out of time, so we're going to just move you on to what was your most memorable simulation that you did with them? I've told you my one that I remember very well. Do you have a different one?
Yeah, I was New Year's Eve. It was the peak of the second wave, and we know other other emergency department are having to see patients at the back of an ambulance. We're like, oh no, it's going to come to us. If it's, we're going to end up having a cardiac arrest in the back of an ambulance. So we thought we need to just get on and prepare. And it really brings on the challenges of organizing in-situ simulation, have to happen in real time, and have to all the teams lined up, not dealing with their own specialty emergencies. We call the London Ambulance Service in the morning to see if we can free up an ambulance and a paramedic to train us. And it all happened. It was amazing. It all happened, and obviously the team were really tested because they have to find the ambulance loading base, get access to it, manage the microenvironment in the ambulance. They don't know what to do inside the ambulance. And we had a site manager bringing PPE. We had the security guards bringing partition. And most memorable bit, I would say, is that we were all in our woolly hats because it was freezing cold. Who would choose to have a simulation in the cold?
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Dorothy. That was really brilliant. Thank you, Dor. Can I give you your badge? Thank you. I'm going to change it later. Thank you very much indeed.